Andrew, imagine coordinating the movement of over 600,000 people through a desert using nothing but a cloud in the sky. It's like the world's first GPS, but with divine intervention instead of satellites.
I can't comprehend that, Pappy. That's such a fascinating way to think about it. And we're not even counting the women and children in that number. The scale is just mind boggling.
You know, Andrew, what gets me? The precision of it all. This wasn't just some wandering crowd. They had this incredible portable sanctuary called the tabernacle with measurements down to the exact foot.
Okay, Pappy, let's break down those dimensions because they're pretty remarkable. We're talking about an outer courtyard of 150 by 75 feet, right?
Exactly. And inside that, you had this smaller structure that was covered entirely in skins and cloth, measuring 45 by 15 feet. The engineering behind it must have been incredible for something that needed to be portable.
Hmm. And all this had to be managed by over 8,500 Levites. That's like running a small city that could pack up and move at a moment's notice.
And here's what's wild, Andrew. They could set up this entire massive structure in just one day. It's like watching an ancient version of those military units that can deploy entire field hospitals in hours.
So, how did they know when to move? Tell me more about this cloud system.
Andrew, that's where it gets exciting. They had this supernatural guidance system, a cloud by day, that looked like fire at night. When it moved, they moved. When it stayed put, they stayed put. No questions asked.
Pappy, that must have required an incredible amount of trust and patience.
Andrew, especially since they never knew how long they'd be in one place. Sometimes they'd barely finish setting up camp when the cloud would move again. Other times they might be stuck in one spot for months,
You know what's fascinating about that? The psychological impact it must have had on people who had just come from slavery in Egypt.
right? They went from one form of external control to another. But this time it was about trust rather than fear. And get this, the text mentions the phrase at the Lord's command 7 times in this passage alone.
That repetition seems intentional, like they're emphasizing this wasn't just about following blindly.
And here's something scholars have pointed out: verses 17 to 23 might have been a song they sang while traveling. They called it the Song of the Journey. It has this beautiful poetic rhythm to it.
That makes so much sense, using music to help coordinate and remember these important instructions.
You know what else is fascinating? The way they organized themselves around the tabernacle. Each tribe had its specific position, creating this perfect order out of what could have been complete chaos.
Well, that level of organization would have been crucial with such large numbers.
And think about the logistics of moving all these people. When the cloud lifted, you had this carefully choreographed sequence. First, the Levites with the Ark of the Covenant, then the tabernacle structure, and finally all the sacred furnishings.
That's quite the operation to coordinate without any modern communication technology.
But here's what strikes me about this whole setup: it was teaching them something profound about trust and timing. Sometimes we need to move when we want to stay still, and sometimes we need to wait when we're desperate to move forward.
That's such a relevant message for today, isn't it? We all struggle with divine timing in our own lives.
Exactly. And maybe that's the biggest lesson we can take from this ancient account. Sometimes the wisest thing we can do is simply wait, watch, and be ready to move when the time is right.
Even when it goes against our own carefully laid plans and preferences.
You know, Andrew, in our world of 5 year plans and carefully scheduled lives, there's something powerful about learning to follow a different kind of guidance, one that might not always make sense to us in the moment.